So 2 questions, guys. Firstly, why are Arsenal more dangerous when Leandro Trossard is playing in the side? Second question, why isn't he on the first 11 all the time? Let's start off with the first one. Nubaid, you have always been in the Trossard fan club. The Trossard train, as it was called a few years ago. And he's had a good start to the season. And if you think of, say, Mudryk and him coming in at the same time, Trossard has been certainly the better buy. And I think he's a bit of a hipster's choice kind of guy as well, because he's very composed. He can play in lots of different positions. He's been playing as a false 9 recently. He's played 8 games. He's got himself 3 goals. And there's so many stats that I could read out. 3 progressive carries per 90, gets into sort of lovely different areas of the pitch, can play left wing, could play left wing back if you wanted him to, all these different things. So why is he still sort of an underrated force?
It's a tricky one, because I think Arsenal have so many attackers. You go Saka's at the top, then it's Martinelli, then you've got Ødegaard, who Arsenal fans might regard as an attacker, then you've got Jesus, and we like all these guys. And so Trossard's almost like this, like, he's just efficient. Like, he just gets the job done. He's an Audi, other cars available. So you kind of go, okay, like, I think when you watch Trossard play, you've got a guy here who's so clinical, so dangerous in the final third, makes really good decisions. But the one thing that Arsenal, I think, are craving is a guy who plays as a 9, puts the ball in the back of the net. We love Eddie Nketiah. We really want to see him do well. Trossard feels like one of those players that, in form, he still might get a goal or assist. Out of form, there isn't such a thing. He's always just on that line and has been for a really long time. So I completely agree. I just think he's vastly underappreciated.
Do you think that he is a victim to quite shallow reasons? For example, Eddie Nketiah being one of our own, if you're an Arsenal fan, wanting him to do well, looking like your stereotypical number 9, and someone like, say, Kai Havertz coming in for a high price tag, playing in that position there, whereas Trossard you've got in January for a reasonable price from Brighton. Is he kind of? Do people think he's not as good as he is because of kind of where he's come from the aesthetics?
I think overall it comes down to what Arteta thinks. And I think Arteta knows of his ability. I think sometimes clubs need players that are good from the bench and make strong impacts for when you are in games where you're not in a scoreline that you like, or you're drawing, or whatever it might be, that someone can come on and have an impact that does that every single time. We spoke about Garnacho earlier, about players that when they start aren't as good as when they make an impact. And there are also others that when they start, they're better than when they come off of the bench. Martinelli, for example, is someone I think needs to be playing and starting from the very first minute. We obviously have seen him have injuries. I think recently starting to see him come back to his best. And that's the thing, is what you're swapping out there is a Martinelli who is younger, going to be at Arsenal for a longer time probably than Trossard.
More explosive, I guess. Right?
Has probably a better potential than Trossard. For Trossard, if you were to bring him in, who, whilst, again, is great for the now, but we are probably seeing him at his peak for now. We're not going to see he isn't going to reach what the possibilities of Martinelli could be reaching. And you've got to be thinking as well of that long-term future. And it's not like playing Martinelli is going to ruin you that much over Trossard, is it?
Yeah.
But say you get to the 70th minute and it's 1-1 and you need an impact player to come off of the bench. Who's there?
In a variety of different positions, is a good point. So I think you're right. That sort of the road of Martinelli or the left wing is not there because Martinelli's there, and Martinelli stretches the opposition a lot as well. His ability when it comes to one-on-one duels as well and taking on players is superb. So I get that one. So that road's shut off. Fine. So then you've got 2 left for me. You've got him as a false 9, which he did well against was it Bournemouth? Or Burnley, sorry, it was Burnley in the last game. And he's done that previously, did that really well for Brighton, in that first half of the season where he scored a solid amount of goals as well. And then you've got him in that 8 position. Ødegaard's definitely going to play. Saka's definitely going to play. There's still a massive question mark there. No one's filled those shoes of Xhaka as of yet. So does he have, a lifespan of sort of starting 11 lifespan in either of those positions for Arsenal moving forward?
My thing with that position is I don't even know what Arteta's doing with that position this season. Xhaka was one of these midfielders that runs beyond and almost is like a false 8 at times. Like they don't actually give him the ball. They use him as like the space occupier. Trossard's too technically gifted to go and play that role. The role actually for him is probably Ødegaard's role, where you get the ball and you want to create and you want to be dominant. But also I think the interesting thing about playing as an 8 for Arsenal is you've got to win duels. And I don't know if Trossard is going to win the amount of duels that Arteta wants him to win. And then you're back in this cycle of, well, he could start as a 9, but they love Gabriel Jesus. And regardless of what Jesus does in front of goal or not, his overall play is so what's the word? So like it just makes you feel like he has to play. If you remember at City when Jesus didn't start, you'd always go, how's he not start? He was great last game.
Is it the tenacity then? He's kind of a victim of his composure and IQ there, and maybe it not being about the physical attributes for him. Because if you think about Jesus, Nketiah or Kai Havertz, their footballing IQ is not better than Trossard's, but physically, maybe all three of them got something that he doesn't have.
I think if you look at the way the Premier League is becoming, it's becoming a much more physical league. You look at the players that Man City are buying, you even really look at the players that Arsenal have bought, maybe minus Trossard. It is becoming a much more physical league now. You're having to come up against centre-backs and even full-backs who are 6'3", strong and quick and technically gifted. And so when you are this player who's maybe not got that, it's a little bit tougher to kind of have this starting position in these integral positions if you're not playing, say, as a winger, which is where ideally he'd want to play. Sometimes, I think you've seen it a few times with players. I mean, Kai Havertz is somebody that's also probably suffered with this. When you are so versatile, you aren't able to lock down a position, and because of that, it means then you are very much a bench option for, say, this person gets injured. Okay, cool, we can bring you on there. Oh, but maybe the left wing gets injured. Okay, we'll bring you on there. I think sometimes versatility can be a kind of a step backwards for yourself.
I think you're right.
Sometimes.
And I think actually there's sort of hidden elements we're not really thinking about here, where actually probably in the world of 5 substitutes, if you're Trossard and you can go play there, you don't have to move anyone else during a game. He can go and fill in that spot. If Nketiah's on the bench, he has to play in that one position.
Exactly, yeah.
So the options that he provides for you, I think the way you would frame that if you're Arteta is you go, the best teams don't really win the game in the first half. They actually win it in the last 30 minutes of the game. And so you, Trossard, who isn't as physically as impressive as these other guys, but is smarter, is going to be smarter and physically up to it against those guys in those last 30 minutes. So that's just a better use of his squad. So maybe Arteta was right all along.
I wonder though, Trossard obviously wants to play every single game and he wants to start every single game. I just looked at his stats from last season. Started 10, played 20 altogether. So he's played a third of the season, even a quarter to some extent. If you're Trossard and Arteta's just said that to you, that you can win as a game in the second half, surely he's going, I'll just start the first half then. I'll win as anyway in the second half.
But I think he would be aware of the fact that the game opens up in the second half. Players get tired in the second half, and there's more spaces in the second half. And again, I think with Arsenal, one of the big problems has been in that central zone. They haven't been able to get to zone 14 really much at all. And so he is a person that, okay, if what's been working last year as the plan A, which did work so well, isn't working in the first 60 minutes of this game, at least you've got a trump card, the Trossard trump card in this case, that you can use.
Yeah, exactly. And I think generally, like, players are never happy. Players, I don't think ever going to be happy if you tell them, yeah, you're on the bench, but you're going to be my star impact player. No player's going to be happy with that. But I think, like, he's going to have to essentially kind of deal with what he's given, really. Like, essentially, Mikel Arteta has a plan for you. I'm sure when he pitched you the plan, you were at a Brighton side that you wanted to leave, you wanted to join a club that's going to be in the Champions League, and you've now got that opportunity. And so when you are presented these chances, you've got to take them. Like, he will get games where he'll start. And then he's got to showcase that you do how good he is playing a full 90 rather than 30.
Is he this generation's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
I was just thinking the same thing. That's so strange.
Really?
Yeah. I was trying to think, who is he like from the past?
Superstar.
The only person I can think of is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's gone on air to say, like, that was his role, and he was actually quite fine with that.
Of course he did.
We're speaking on behalf of Trossard. Trossard might be like, I knew I was going to leave Brighton and become Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for Arsenal, and I am a necessary component to us potentially winning the league.
Do you know what he's probably doing? He's probably looking at Saka and going, yeah, 60 minutes a week. I'll take 30 minutes in this game in midweek, 30 minutes on a Saturday. Yeah, all right, I'll take 60 minutes.